to look at this because okay, we just had a whole segment about North Texas football, right?
Right.
We just talked about we want things to turn around, what it would take for them.
And
to
we
succeed.
never talked about a sexual assault on our campus. We never talked about
but that's not my
something being thrown under
that's
the
not my
rug.
point though. What my point is
and I should be proud that the university that I went to doesn't do that. And I'm wearing a North Texas shirt tonight.
Okay, but my point.
Go ahead.
My point is that there's still a part of me in my sports super fan craziness that goes, man, I wonder if we could get Art Briles now.
I thought that.
And that's a terrible thing to think.
It's a horrible thing.
But there are 100 schools around the nation whose athletic directors and their boards and all are thinking that right now about Art Briles.
They're like my dog right now when it gets around close to 6 o'clock. His mouth will start salivating because it's like, oh, I can get this.
It's time for dinner. But it sucks because no matter if Art Briles, he had his contract through 2023.
Yeah.
It's a 10-year extension he just got. So I bet a good portion of that money's guaranteed, and Baylor's going to have to pay him a pretty penny. So
he's not going to be hurting to get food anytime soon.
So he's going to be fine. He's going to make a ton of money. Then he's going to go into another school while still collecting Baylor back paychecks and make more money. While the girls in these stories of these sexual assaults, they're still going to try to figure out how their life is going to go on.
Right. Now, I lived in Waco. Did you know that?
I did know that.
Okay. Now, I was there when a couple other scandals popped up, and it wasn't so much football, it was basketball. Now, did you know that there was actually, on the Baylor basketball team, there was one player that murdered another player?
I did know that, and
Okay.
it was...
Carlton Dotson murdered Patrick Denny. So
that was 2003?
Yes, it was. Now, we go to a couple years down the road. They get the new coach, Scott Dials or whatever. I think it really doesn't matter because guess what? He did the same darn thing. Tweety Carter, that's his nickname, and I'm gonna call him Tweety Carter because I have no respect for this guy. Also, his senior year, going in from his junior to his senior year, he beat up his girlfriend. Supposedly beat up his girlfriend.
Allegedly.
Okay, broke her jaw.
Allegedly.
No, that broke her jaw. And he was arrested, booked. The following day, she came, now with a broken jaw, she came out and spoke and said, he didn't mean to do that. We were playing around. It wasn't domestic violence. So within one day, he went to being kicked off the team, spent the night in jail, supposedly not going to be able to play anymore, and now he's back on the team. And guess what? At the end of that basketball season, right now, that is your Big 12 all-time scoring leader. And that's disgusting. And I was there the night, his last game at Baylor, because it was against Texas. And I believe that was...
Of course you went.
Of course I went to that game. And they were honoring Tweety Carter for all his accomplishments at Baylor. And I would say he's this guy that I knew is an acquaintance. I never liked him. But as they were handing the thing, I booed. I didn't boo him because of what he did on the court.
Right, you were booing him because he played for Baylor.
I booed him because he was a bad person in society. If you go around punching women and breaking their jaws, you're not going to get me clapping for you because you scored the most buckets in the Big 12 games. Not gonna happen. And this guy's like, you better respect his moment. No, respect the moment that when he broke the girl's jaw.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. And I think as sports fans as a whole, when we look at this being a recently elevated problem, it's not new to sports, but it is finally being exposed. You know, when you look at Ray Rice and all of that, how all of that played out, and you look at, what's the defensive end for the Cowboys?
Oh, he doesn't play for the Cowboys anymore. Number 75, Greg Hardy.
Yeah, Greg Hardy. So
no, is it 75 he wore? I think so.
So Greg Hardy, and then all this stuff at Baylor, and Jameis Winston, and all this stuff at Florida State. So it's finally being talked about. But I think sports fans as a whole, like the women involved in all this, they deserve an apology, not only from the people, the perpetrators, but from sports fans, and that it's been okay as long as someone can perform on a field to look the other way
right.
at what they do in their personal life. And I think that's been way too much. So I'm not sure what to do with that, because Art Briles is going to go on. He's made $4 million annually in 2023. He brought a new stadium to Baylor.
Okay, do you know anything about anything
McLean Stadium? Right?
Okay, do you know where McLean comes from?
I don't.
He was the former owner of the Houston Astros.
Okay.
So this $300 million that he got, that's what he got from selling the Houston Astros to the current ownership. So he took all the money that he had, put it into this stadium, and part of that was. And he also got another big penny from Major League Baseball. Hey, on your way out, will you move the Astros to the American League? So that McLean Stadium, of course I'm an Astro fan, but it really ticks me off that the Astros are in the American League and not the National League, because I always think of the Astros as a National League team. And that stadium really ticks me off, because it tells me that's the reason why they dumped so many seasons for Baylor to have a season for
now a program, a now corrupt program.
And at the time, that's when Tweety Carter was breaking the girl's jaw.
So, like I said a few times, he's still going to get a good portion of that paycheck. He still brought a new stadium. There's still going to be Baylor fan after Baylor fan that laments that Art Briles is gone. You know, they are actually flipping out as an athletic department. How do we maintain the quality of program we had?
At this point right now, they shouldn't hey, how are we going to win a game next year? That shouldn't be the question. The question should be, how can we make things better for future students coming here, and how can we make it better for the students that came here to this Christian university,
right,
and turned around and said, "Wow, I don't want to be here anymore."
Right.
That's the question that should be asked, not what the football team is going to win next year.
Yeah, the biggest question left is, how do we stop this from happening in the future? And how do we stop sports fans from supporting...
And this reaches out further than just Baylor University.
This isn't just Baylor.
This is every university out there that allows something like this. This goes out to the University of Florida
teams.
with the Aaron Hernandez, who had his issues at Florida.
Right.
There was a couple other players. I don't remember them all. It's not even worth speaking about, because what they did is just horrible.
It's about sports as a whole, pro, college, international, any of that. There is no game that is so important that I can look, or any of us should be able to look the other way for someone hurting. And I know...
Because even when a player gets hurt on the field, we sympathize for him. We're like, wow, we know that hurts. But when you take it off the field and you do it to someone else, you have to sympathize more. I don't care if I wouldn't say I don't care, but just because somebody blows out his knees, he's going to miss out on $1 million. Unfortunate. Just because a girl got raped and she'll probably never trust a man again, that's not right.
Yeah, and I know this has been a heavier segment.
No, it's something that we needed to show about ourselves.
Absolutely, and this is an important topic that I don't think some of these angles are the way that people are talking about them. You know, it is so much from a sports perspective, and we did touch on those things. But again, we want you to know from us, and our opinion on sports is that none of it is more important than these young women whose life were affected. And I hope that they can recover, and that everything will be all right one day, and that we may not have the answers, but you have our support. And I don't really know how to segue into the next segment after something like that, because that is the message I want to leave you with. But we will be back with something else.
A little bit of a break.